Introduction. I have chosen the late Arnold Palmer as my influential leader of choice because he was able to lead in more than just the sport he played. When it comes to golf, there is no other person you can look at as a more influential leader than that of Arnold Palmer. Before he was a professional golfer, he was enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guards and served for 3 years posted in New Jersey. While he was enlisted, Palmer wound up designing and building his first ever golf course in the U.S. Coast Guard Training Center at the age of 19. Once his enlistment term was finished, he wound up going back to college to play golf and study business at Wake Forest. During his very successful career, he managed to get himself into many different aspects of life, which resulted in him diving headfirst into many different business opportunities. Because of his background in business, Arnold Palmer was already very knowledgeable on how to properly manage and build an organization. He focused heavily on providing as much help to children as possible. That vision was something he lived by, which is why he created the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Foundation, which is focused on giving back to children's charities. Not only did he create an everlasting foundation that is still working strong even after he passed away, but he also helped create multiple children's hospitals that have helped thousands of children's lives in the 30 years it has existed. How does Arnold Palmer lead himself? With the type of character Arnold Palmer had, he was constantly looking to improve himself and his knowledge of the things he involved himself in. With that being said, you could always categorize him as a strategist, which can be explained as someone who is acutely aware of the environments in which they operate and have a deep understanding of the structures and processes that help run their businesses. Because he exhibits strong strategic leadership style, he often accepted the burden of executive interests while ensuring that current working conditions remain stable for everyone involved. Although Palmer oftentimes wanted to do everything himself and was serious about his work, he understood that no operation could run smoothly when one person does everything. His ability to delegate work is the reason his design company was as successful as it was. When it comes to his emotional intelligence, he was great at both recognizing and controlling his own emotions. With his ability to harness his emotions appropriately, he was able to have the most optimized reactions to any given situation. His ability to stay lighthearted and have a good sense of humor while still maintaining seriousness when needed made it much easier for the people working with Mr. Palmer to respect him. How does Mr. Palmer lead others? When talking about informal leaders, it is stated that they have no formal organizational authority to influence others but possess special skills and talents to influence and lead others. Although Arnold Palmer did eventually own his own organization and would eventually be classified as a formal leader, when he first started his career, he did not possess much more than influential skills and talents. When he first started his career, he did not possess much more than influential skills and talents. Yet, with his positive vibe and just the influential power of his own self, he was able to create a following of people who not only believed in his vision, but also followed the things he did everywhere he went. He was a positive leader that was also great at communicating and had a vast knowledge of how and what should be done to help a business succeed, which made it easier for people to understand what Palmer wanted to be done and how they should complete it. How did Arnold Palmer lead their organization? Arnold Palmer was great at showing his strategic leadership ability, which can be described as someone who has the ability to influence others to voluntarily make decisions that enhance the prospects for the organization's long-term success while maintaining short-term financial stability. Palmer was able to encompass his organizational vision amongst everyone that was involved in his foundation, and that was simply to provide people with the ability to have an opportunity to succeed. This is why he created the Golf Channel, which aired for the first time in 1995. He not only created the Golf Channel just so the game of golf could grow, but also so he could grow successful people in the golf entertainment industry. Palmer was keen on making sure everyone involved in his organizations had the highest quality of working environment. When kickstarting the Arnold Palmer Design Company, he purchased Bay Hill Club and Lodge back in the early 70s, which is still to this day the headquarters for that business and the home of the Arnold Palmer Museum. When building the Orlando Health Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, he understood that with time and technology advancements, he would need to allow room for innovation within the hospital. That is why he put a lot of his own money into this project so that medical staff have the opportunity to excel and grow in the field of children's hospital. Assessments of leadership effectiveness of Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer was many things to many people. He was a world-famous golf immortal and sportsman, highly successful business executive, prominent advertising spokesman, skilled aviator, talented golf course designer and consultant, a devoted family patriarch, and a man with a down-to-earth common touch that made him one of the most popular and accessible public figures in history. He demonstrated the ability to show empathy and have critical reflection that resulted in him exploring and experiencing real-world issues that he became enthusiastic to try and fix himself. I believe that Arnold Palmer was a very successful strategic leader, and even though he wanted his organizations to succeed, he was able to create a successful environment for his staff to work in and thrive to have his businesses succeed from the ground up. My final remarks. I can only one day aspire to be anything like Arnold Palmer. His drive and passion for everything he got involved in is something I believe everyone should take note of. Providing support to people that cannot support themselves is something I hope to do one day, and to be a leader in any way that is similar to Mr. Palmer is something I can only dream of.